Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't your typical rap feud. This is an outright betrayal circus. This scandal is so tangled that it almost looks like it was staged. Consider this. In an altercation that left the internet in shock, King Harris, son of the self-declared King of the South, T.I., threw his hands at a Boosie Badazz. And rumors of a leaked recording, as if that wasn't crazy enough. Yes, the type of recording that has the power to instantly destroy people's reputations. Abruptly struck the bringing Boosie's son into the commotion. It could have been coincidence or an overly elaborate setup. Imagine now that the fight erupts. King makes a lunge. They raise their voices. Within minutes, sirens will be ringing as phones are out filming every second. Who do you think gets handcuffed? No, Boosie, not a hapless passerby. It's King Harris, no. Ty going crazy on the internet, his face plastered on mug pictures, and headlines yelling his name, accusing everyone of conspiring. Was this an actual altercation that went awry on the street? Or did King fall for a ruse to bring shame on his father's empire? Why is everyone blaming each other now? More significantly, what sinister secrets are poised to emerge from the shadows? This scandal is just beginning, so keep an eye on it. Hip-hop beef, they claimed, was about pride, lyrics, and music. However, there was more to this. As soon as it was announced that T.I., the self-proclaimed King of the South, had allegedly attacked Boosie in a controversy involving not just fists, but also leaking tapes and concealed receipts, and had been carried out in handcuffs, the internet blew up. Not only were many astonished, but they were also perplexed. How did two legendary Southern rappers who had previously stood shoulder to shoulder end up striking one other in what appears to be the most repulsive altercation hip-hop has witnessed in a long time? More significantly, why did this altercation result in an arrest that would permanently ruin T's empire? Let's go back. The conflict between Ty and Boosie wasn't unexpected. For months, if not years, their rivalry has been boiling beneath the surface. In Southern rap, both men make a reputation for themselves. Both have scars from the streets and have a reputation for voicing their opinions. Chaos, however, is unavoidable when ancient grudges, injured egos, and an excessive number of microphones converge. According to unnamed people familiar with the matter, T had been feeling degraded for weeks following Boosie's covert shade during a live interview. Boosie allegedly joked, "He ain't the king of nothing no more," in reference to T's throne. T.I. saw those remarks as fuel added to a fire that was already on fire, since their entire brand is centered around becoming the king. The altercation took place at an Atlanta private industry gathering. Leaked reports indicate that this was more than a mere public dispute. It was a private setting where influential people from the entertainment, business, and music industries were expected to mingle and celebrate. Rather, they saw mayhem break out, similar to a movie scene. Witnesses said that once T approached Boosie and muttered something hot in his ear, the two men began shoving, shouting, and then flinging fists. Since, let's face it, no one puts their phone away when a $1 million rapper is going to throw their hands, phones were out of commission right away. However, this is where things become more sinister. There was more than just fight footage on the alleged leaked tape that came to light a few hours after the altercation. Ty was apparently seen yelling threats, yelling old secrets, and dragging Boosie's name through the ground while in the midst of the chaos. People who watched said they heard T yelling about paperwork, about shady dealings, and about a betrayal that involved more than just music money. All of a sudden, respect had nothing to do with the conflict. It was a matter of survival. The internet began guessing right away. Did Bowie have evidence against Ty that may be used against him? Or was T.I. attempting to reveal Boosie before Boosie did? The cops were called in sooner than anyone had anticipated. Already under strain, the Atlanta Police Department clamped down on celebrity violence, said in a statement that they have enough proof to hold someone accountable for a fight that put the public in danger. Translation: the king's notoriety alone was not enough to get him away with it. Ty was immediately taken into custody. No backstage access or VIP treatment. He was seen on camera being led into a patrol car with his head down and his hands cuffed behind his back. That picture quickly became the week's most popular meme after going viral. Furthermore, Boosie didn't exactly appear innocent. Boosie reportedly stormed out after the altercation, yelling at T and threatening to do something real, according to reports. The issue for Boosie is that he was shown flinging shots both physically and figuratively on the released tape. Although it was unclear from the video who was the aggressor, it was obvious that both men were in serious jeopardy. What caused this unexpected eruption? We must go into the convoluted past in order to comprehend that. Ty and Boosie had a tenuous partnership for years. They occasionally worked together and admired unvarnished, and not scared to take on anyone, even Ty. Boosie was adored for his genuineness on the streets. Ty's strategy earned him recognition in the boardrooms. Furthermore, in hip-hop, the two worlds clashed all the time. When it was rumored earlier this year that T.I. had aided federal investigators years prior in return for a reduced sentence, the situation reached a breaking point. Boosie never wanted to keep quiet in public and said he couldn't respect his snitch when the rumor became viral on social media. Fans made the connection right away. Boosie was discussing Ty. T dismissed it at first, but his pride wouldn't let it go. He sensed his legacy. A guy who thrived on disorder was tearing down the legacy he had built track by track, building by brick. All of those emotions erupted in a single violent night when the fight started. Punches weren't the only thing on the released tape. It alluded to things neither guy wanted to be known. According to anonymous insiders, the video was purposefully leaked, possibly by a person present who intended to embarrass both musicians. In a matter of hours, millions of people were discussing what they had just seen on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram as the tape circulated. Ty folded as if in the comment section. One user said, "Boosie finally caught up to him." Another said, "Memes painted T as dethroned and Boosie as the ultimate chaos agent. But beyond the internet jokes, there are serious consequences." Attorneys began to circle right once. According to T.I.'s camp, he acted in self-defense after Boosie verbally and physically agitated him. Boosie's supporters retorted that the arrest was evidence of guilt, and that Ty was the one who started the attack. Both parties have been getting ready for a judicial battle that can damage their reputations farther through the mud. Not to mention that the music industry is keeping a careful eye on things. Unless it sells records, labels dislike scandal. Executives are currently discussing whether this conflict is beneficial for streams or detrimental to the company. The enigmatic papers that T.I. cited during the fight are one aspect that has people talking. Those who listened to the audio leak claim that T yelled about documents proving Boosie had deceived him in a botched business deal years prior. Others conjecture that those papers include even more sinister agreements, contracts, informant files, or individual betrayals that have the potential to destroy careers. Fake screenshots, purported receipts, and wild hypotheses have been all over the internet. Was Boosie aiding and abetting the police? Did Ty find anything he shouldn't have? Although no one is certain, the conjecture is stoking the flames. Ty is still out on bail as of right now, but his mugshot picture is ingrained in the public consciousness. In the meantime, Boosie is stepping up his tough guy attitude by asserting that he isn't afraid of no king during a mysterious Instagram live. The hip-hop community is split as a result of both men's refusal to give up. Some contend that once you are exposed or labeled weak by the streets, there is no turning back. Some others think Boosie has finally chosen a battle that is too huge to win. Pursuing T will lead to career suicide. Here's the worst part, though. This is just the start. There was more to what happened in Atlanta that night than a single altercation. It's the beginning of a storm that may reveal secrets, ruin traditions, and make the rap industry choose sides like never before. And this issue is just going to get hotter if the rumors that more videos will be released are accurate. There was more than simply internet frenzy behind the discussion of new tapes. Within a day, rumors began to circulate that there were other recordings from that evening besides the fight film. On Twitter, undercover accounts with mysterious identities and anonymous sources said they possessed videos that would ruin marriages and careers in the business. Everyone became tense all of a sudden. Imagine the impact that several videos could have if a single leaked film could rock the rap scene this much. Within Atlanta's music circles, the paranoia became oppressive. Ghosting calls were initiated by producers present at the event. Frantic messages were being sent by managers. Even seasoned professionals in the field acknowledged that they hadn't witnessed such anarchy since the notorious East Coast versus West Coast conflicts. This ain't just about fists. This is about control, an unidentified executive told a site. But here's the crazy part. Fans began to notice that some of the clips being teased online seemed way too polished. The angles were perfect, the audio was crystal clear, and it didn't look like random phone footage. Instead, it looked like surveillance. This raised the biggest question yet. Who set them up? Theories ran wild, with some claiming that a rival label hired people to plant cameras. Whoever dropped that tape wanted to destroy T and Boosie at the same time. The Dirt King setup trended for hours as fans debated whether T was a victim or the mastermind behind his own demise. Meanwhile, Boosie wasn't letting up, jumping on Instagram Live and laughing, mocking T.I. and daring him to tell the world what's really in those papers. Thousands watched as Boosie smoked blunt after blunt, grinning like he had the power to make Ty lose his temper on camera. Others swore Boosie himself planned the entire thing to get Ty to lose his temper on camera. Boosie sneered, "You the one been playing both sides. Don't act like I ain't got the receipts." That one line, "I got the receipts," set off a chain reaction of screenshots on social media, most of which were fake, but some of which might be real, claiming to show shady business dealings linked to T.I. They suggested that Ty stole money from rivals behind Boosie's back. Others alluded to federal cooperation, which is a stain that no street rapper can ever remove. However, things got even worse when TMZ, who never misses an opportunity, revealed in an exclusive that T.I.'s arrest was about more than just the fight. According to their sources, the police also seized a phone that contained private information that might link T.I. to unreported criminal activity. Suddenly, the story took a turn from a straightforward altercation to something more sinister. Was the fight the catalyst that revealed a much larger scandal? If so, both rappers were in far more serious trouble than anyone. Man, the South can't take another L. One caller yelled, "We already lost too many legends to beef, prison, and bullets. If T.I. fall, it's the end." The streets responded immediately. Local Atlanta radio stations played non-stop commentary, with callers arguing over who was in the right. Some fans rode hard for Boosie, saying he stood on his word and never backed down. Others defended T, claiming he was being targeted by enemies jealous of his success. Hashtags like "Judge protect the South" and "No breakings." However, despite the division among fans, the industry was not sitting still, as several insiders revealed that sponsors began withdrawing from T.I. right away. One brand reportedly canceled a six-figure endorsement deal, citing reputational risks. Boosie, on the other hand, saw his booking fees spike overnight. After all, controversy sells. However, behind the scenes, promoters were concerned. The legal front appeared even more tangled as T.I.'s lawyers filed motions to suppress the leaked footage, claiming it was illegally obtained evidence, while Boosie's team responded by demanding full access to all recordings, claiming they proved T.I. was the aggressor. Court dates began to appear on the calendar, and journalists circled like vultures. Want to book a show where two of the biggest rappers in the South might show up ready to throw down again? Security costs skyrocketed and rumors went haywire, turned into a headline. Then came the bombshell. A blogger posted a leaked document purportedly from federal files that suggested T.I. and law enforcement had collaborated on his 2007 weapons case. The authenticity of the document could not be confirmed, but it rekindled one of the most damaging rumors in hip-hop, the snitch label. If the papers were authentic, Boosie's insults were based on facts. If they were not, it made no difference. Perception is reality in the court of public opinion. Memes spread more quickly than facts, and fans ridiculed T as tipping the informant. By the next day, his name was trending not just for the fight, but also for betrayal. The story of the leaked tapes intensified when a second, shorter but more explosive clip appeared, in which Boosie yelled at T.I., accusing him of selling out not only to the federal government, but also to the industry elites. "You've been there, puppet. You've been there, pawn," Boosie screamed, veins popping in his neck. The clip ended abruptly, but it was enough. As Twitter exploded with arguments about Illuminati plots, industry control, and hidden agendas, it became clear that, at least in the eyes of fans, this was not just T versus Boosie, but Ty versus the entire system. T remained utterly silent throughout, and his team issued a brief statement stating that he was focused on clearing his name and going forward. At the end of the week, hashtags like "Badazz, I exposed T.I. and free." The receipts were inevitable. And let's not overlook the collateral damage after T.I.'s family reality show, once a pillar of his brand, came under fire. But in the digital age, silence isn't strength, it's weakness. Every minute he remained silent, Boosie became louder, and every second he refused to address the accusations. The internet filled the void with speculation. In the meantime, Boosie's wild behavior, which had previously been criticized, was suddenly viewed as authentic, and he leaned into it, posting more lives, throwing subtle dishes, and turning the scandal into free promotion for his upcoming music. If T.I. was coming down, Bowie was determined to rise on his ashes. However, behind closed doors, insiders whispered that Bowie might have taken on more than he could handle. Sponsors threatened to withdraw. The chilling part is that, according to another anonymous leak, prosecutors are now investigating whether the fight and the tapes are related to a larger case. "Don't count Tip out," one anonymous source warned, because even though he may be down, he knows where all the skeletons are buried. And if he starts talking, it won't just be Boosie going down. It'll be half the industry. As the days passed, one thing became very evident. This was not just a scandal. It was a war. Ty and Boosie had opened a Pandora's box, and the fallout was just getting started. If the racketeering investigation is accurate, this isn't just about an assault charge. It could turn into a full-fledged RICO case, the kind of legal nightmare that swallows entire crews' labels and legacies whole. Atlanta, a city already scarred by high-profile indictments against rappers in recent years, suddenly braced itself for another storm. The rumors of a potential RICO case were enough to send shockwaves through the entire hip-hop industry, and the next live session could be the spark that burns everything to the ground. Rap fans are holding their breath, waiting to see who survives and who is buried under the weight of their own secrets. Every blog post, YouTube channel, and gossip site twisted the story to suit their own agenda, portraying King Harris as a reckless kid drawn into bigger-than-life feuds, a spoiled celebrity son who believed his last name could shield him from consequences, or a mugshot mocking his mugshot and calling him King of Cell Block D. And King Harris, sitting at the center of the chaos with an arrest record now stapled to his name, was drowning in the kind of fame no artist ever dreams of. Y'all think this about a fight? Nah, this about power. They try to erase my legacy. They try to break my family apart, but I ain't folding. Never have, never will. He went live one night while pacing in his mansion, veins bulging in his forehead, calling the entire scandal a strategic takedown. The internet, as usual, showed no mercy. Meanwhile, T.I. was on the decline. The story took a further turn when a mysterious Twitter account released what it claimed to be an audio recording of a heated phone call between King Harris and Boosie's son. The recording was scratchy but clear enough to send chills. Threats, accusations, and a chilling line where King allegedly said, "I don't even know who's watching you." The video received millions of views and hours of debate among fans about whether King was telling the truth or was breaking under pressure. Was it authentic? Was it a hoax? No one gave a damn. It became viral on the internet. Boosie naturally doubled down and blasted the video all over his social media accounts, mocking T.I. That boy sound guilty as hell. That's y'all Prince. That's y'all King. Man, please. His fans flooded the comments with laughing emojis, while T's supporters retaliated, accusing Boosie of planning a smear campaign. King was suddenly more than just a hothead who threw punches. He was involved in a shadowy game of surveillance, leaks, and setups. The legal fallout followed, and CNN even ran a brief segment about the growing intersection of hip-hop culture, violence, and the justice system. The back and forth was no longer about who won a fight, but rather about who controlled the narrative. Court documents leaked revealed that prosecutors were considering charges beyond simple assault, and there were rumors of witness tampering and hidden bank accounts linked to both camps floating online. That's when you realize that the drama isn't just in the streets anymore. It's mainstream. Behind the scenes, King Harris's friends started to distance themselves from him. The same group of people who had once supported him abruptly stopped talking because no one wanted their name to be associated with a case that was getting worse every day. The loneliness was particularly painful for a young man who had grown up in the shadow of his father's celebrity, and he posted cryptic messages on Instagram late at night, such as "trust nobody" and "everyone fake." In the meantime, industry vultures circled. An anonymous insider suggested that rival labels were already planning to jump in and take advantage of the chaos, signing up up-and-coming artists with a promise that they wouldn't end up like King. Even rappers outside of Atlanta weighed in, with some sending prayers and thoughts, while others threw shade. Was he finally realizing how cruel the spotlight could be, or was he cracking under the pressure? During a freestyle, the rapper made casual references to snitches with crowns and Princess locked down. Fans quickly made the connection, which led to yet another round of viral debate. The scandal's impact was felt by hip-hop as a whole, not just by King or T.I. Older fans were concerned that another generation was witnessing history repeat itself, with feuds getting out of hand, young rappers caught in violent cycles, and law enforcement circling like sharks. And perhaps they were right, one critic observed, watching the golden age of the South eat itself alive. The plot takes a terrifying turn at this point, though. Not a fight, not an argument, but another tape came to light. According to reports, this one included King in a private setting, making statements that would implicate not only him but also his father and their whole company. The timing was cruel, but it was impossible to verify the validity. The disclosure came like a bomb just as King's legal team was getting set to claim his innocence. and just as T.I. appeared ready to hit back. There was no waiting for confirmation on the internet. It immediately crowned it truth. The consequences were disastrous. Deals were canceled by sponsors. Some projects were subtly pushed to the back of streaming services playlists. As a result, the Harris family was portrayed as hypocritical by the public. Boosie continued to grin, taunt, and profit from the circus throughout it all. However, despite his laughter and smirks, insiders said Boosie was also anxious. If prosecutors were examining everything, T wasn't the only one who ought to be concerned. Old grudges, old cases, and old dirt all ran the risk of being brought into the spotlight. Additionally, the federal government doesn't stop digging until they have buried everyone. Now the question looms over every fan, insider, and gossip site. Who makes it through this? Will King Harris end up being a tragic example of a young celebrity ruined by notoriety, scandal, and poor decisions? Will T.I. scuttle back, revealing his adversaries along the way? Or will his legacy be stains that last a lifetime? And will Boosie ultimately pay the price for playing with fire as he rides the scandal wave? The rap community is currently holding its breath. Every leak, tweet, and shaky video clip has the potential to tip the scales in one direction or another. This is no longer merely for amusement. It's a sport involving blood. And once the cameras start rolling, the players at the center are discovering that. There's no turning back after the internet declares you guilty. All that remains is the last blow, the final leak, the final scandal that has the potential to permanently destroy everything. This isn't simply about King Harris's arrest, after all. It's about secrets causing an empire to crumble. It concerns Boosie's audacity in prodding a behemoth. It is about a culture that is hooked to drama and thrives on failure after failure. The scariest aspect is that there is still more to this story. By no means. The question is now straightforward. How many more controversies will surface before these purported game monarchs fall apart? For if Boosie believed that silence would safeguard his reputation, and T.I. believed he could hide this leaked footage, tonight simply showed the opposite. More than their music ever could, their silence spoke out. And let's face it, this is only the start. The internet never forgets, never forgives, and never stops searching. What comes next then? Do these rappers put in more effort and deny, or do the receipts eventually cause them to break? Because if history has taught us anything, it's this. There is always more dirt to come after a scandal blows up. We'll be here with a magnifying glass, plucking every thread until the entire hideous sweater comes undone, as you already know. This is where I respond to you, though. Do you think Boosie is preparing T for his eventual downfall? Or do you think he truly crossed the line? I'd like to know where the real heat lies, so please share your thoughts in the comments section. Additionally, if you believe this video rocked the table, I promise you that the next one will completely upend everything. Don't just scroll by then. To ensure you don't miss the next big thing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and ring the notification bell. Because scandals, secrets, and stars don't remain hidden, and they don't sleep here. Stars don't remain hidden, and they don't sleep here.